Get ready for all the highlights of Valley High School football. It's time for Action 4 Sports Sunday Sports Extra.
Hello and welcome to Sunday Sports Extra. I'm Action 4 Sports Director Clay Williams, and with me this week to recap Week 2 of the high school football playoffs and to look forward to Week 3, it is from 956sports.com and 840 Fox Sports Game of the Week. It is Joe Bowling, and from 956sports.com it is Greg Selbert. Guys, thanks for joining me. Let's talk about last night's game with Harlingen. People around here are maybe a little surprised at Del Rio, but Del Rio, a pretty disciplined team, and they were taking it to the Cardinals early on, but in the fourth quarter, Harlingen comes back. This might have been the play of the game that turned it around for Harlingen. Brian Blake turned around the Rams defense, took it in for the touchdown, and this one was back in control. Now, the second half, the defense didn't let up any points, but the special teams did. This is Terrell, one of two kickoff returns that Del Rio would bring back for a touchdown in this one. So Harlingen need a little work on their special teams, but they would come up with the big answering touchdown here thanks to Kevin Ledesma, the touchdown that puts Harlingen back in front, plus two blocked kicks and a blocked extra point that was returned by Randy Bermea, and that's all she wrote is Harlingen wins it big time. 37-34 is the final. Now, we talked about the defense. Brendan Fitzgerald of Action 4 Sports was in San Antonio last night, and he files this report on how the Cards stopped the Rams in the second half.
Well, once again, Harlingen moving on to the third round of the playoffs in Texas High School 5A Division I, but this one was not easy against Del Rio. A very uncharacteristic performance by Harlingen for most of the game, specifically on defense. Del Rio came out, they scored 28 points in the first half. Harlingen was making mistakes they usually don't make, but the Cardinals and specifically the defense responded in a big way in the second half. Other than a special teams kick return touchdown for Del Rio, the Harlingen defense was stingy in the second half, yielding no points, including a big stop inside their own 20-yard line to keep it a 4-point ball game in which they allow their offense to go down and score the game-winning touchdown in the final 5 minutes. Manny Gomez leads the defense on this Harlingen Cardinal team, and he was happy with that unit after the game.
The defensive guys, those guys, man, I love all those kids. You know, don't get me wrong, I love every kid on this team. But those defensive guys, I tell you what, those are the guys who really took charge at half, doing all the rah-rah stuff amongst themselves. But you know, all they did just say they just challenged each other, and you know, those guys went out there and played hard, man. Every single one of those kids, you know, you got to give credit to them.
The first half was pretty bad part on defense. Offense was doing the thing. Defense wasn't really progressing, but we during halftime we talked it over with the coaches and everyone, and we just got the ball rolling. And as you can see, we did really good.
Our defense wasn't stopping them that much. We challenged each other. We told them to stop it, and we'll get in the end zone every single chance we could. So, I mean, it's just a hell of a feeling right now.
So Harlingen will get their shot to win in the third round. It's what we've been talking about all season long. Is this the team to break that Valley barrier? Harlingen thinks so. They'll have to do it against San Antonio Warren next Saturday afternoon in Corpus Christi. For now, at Comalander Stadium in San Antonio, Brendan Fitzgerald, Action 4 Sports.
Thanks a lot, Brendan. And so the venue moves from San Antonio to Corpus Christi. Venerable Buccaneers Stadium, 2 o'clock Saturday. Harlingen, 12-0, takes on San Antonio Warren, 11-1 in the third round of the playoffs. Waiting in the wings in the regional final, either San Antonio Madison or Laredo United. More on the Longhorns a little later, but let's go ahead and start with you, Joe. You were at the game. Your thoughts on what Harlingen was able to do and what they weren't able to do maybe in that first half?
Well, in the first half, they were able to hang in there because they had a team that was executing and getting some things done. They made some adjustments right at the end of the half that we made a point on our broadcast. They started putting a lot more pressure on Fernandez, and for whatever reason, Del Rio went away from their possession receiver. Maybe he didn't have the time, but for whatever reason, they quit going to him, and it kind of changed the attack approach for Del Rio. But for the Harlingen Cardinals, you know, how about this? A lot of Valley teams over the past few years especially have come across that kind of adversity, kick returns, a fumble, and have fallen apart. So what they did, they hung in there. They got to the halftime break, they made some adjustments, they came out and got the job done.
Doesn't it happen this way with all great teams, Greg, that sometime along the way, a team sneaks up on them and they fall behind, but the great ones, they come back from that?
You got to find a way to win. I think that the more we thought about it during the week, we were kind of thinking it might be a little tougher than people imagine. And that includes the people on the blogs and the emails and all that stuff. I was at the Pace game, And we kept hearing the scores, and we thought maybe they were reading them wrong. Surely not. That can't be the case. And a lot of us were having one of those moments where we're like, don't let this happen. Don't let this happen. Thankfully, they made the plays when they had to. Like you said, they, you know, they made some adjustments and came out with the win. When I got the call last night that they had actually won, I was like, thank you, God, because, you know, that would have been a real downer for the Valley. We would have looked dumb. And I'm not saying it would have been Harlingen's fault per se, but, you know, all the things we've been saying, if they didn't go to that third round, it would not have been a good thing.
Well, that's true. And there were plenty of media folks up in San Antonio and here in the Valley, believe it or not, who almost broke their legs jumping off of the Harlingen bandwagon, you know, with a first half score. I'm not sure where that comes from. You build them up all year long just to jump off at the first sign of a problem. I'm not sure where that comes from.